are a few things we can be certain about in life: death, taxes, and the fact that teenage girls and their interests will be relentlessly made fun of no matter what. Something I've noticed happening recently online is these girls who are in their 20s and 30s, mostly women in their 20s, have been saying that they are too old to be listening to Olivia Rodrigo. If you don't know who Olivia Rodrigo is, she is a singer and actress who kind of got her big break on the High School Musical reboot that Disney did a while ago. I think they might still be doing it, I'm not sure. I'm not that much of a theater kid anymore.
I'm past patiently waiting, I'm passionately smashing every expectation, every action's an act of creation.
She writes music about being a teenage girl, experiencing love for the first time, experiencing heartbreak for the first time, all of these things that are pretty normal for somebody her age. And I'm seeing these women that are, my age, 23, 24, 25, all the way up to 30-something, really enjoying her music, yet being very insecure about the fact that they enjoy her music.
Am I too old to be here?
What?
Am I too old to be here?
No, of course not.
Does it look weird that I'm here?
No, not at all.
The jokes about being way too old to listen to Olivia Rodrigo are funny, but they also kind of bum me out.
And in general, I don't think that most music is made for a certain demographic. I think you can listen to whatever you want to listen to, but I just found it very interesting that with this specific artist, so many people were saying that they were too old to be listening to her. Why is that?
Who is Olivia's songs about? Your mom.
Now, I completely understand, wanting to be nostalgic about things, understanding that you are not in that part of your life anymore, but I couldn't help but notice there are so many women having this experience. And I think a big part of that is because, in general, teenage girls are not given the appropriate room to grow. You see this happen with so many other artists who are her age. She is 20 at the time of filming this video. Let's take a look at what Britney Spears was doing when she was 20 years old.
There's one subject we didn't discuss. What was that? Everyone's talking about it.
What?
Well, your breasts.
My breasts. Used to be, and I'm like, then when I came out, you thought I was too provocative. It's like you could never win.
She can wear what she decides to wear, but I think that she should just watch what she wears at times and where she is sometimes for little children.
Most of her fans are the younger.
What is this? Why are they barely wearing anything?
This is a private dance. This is a dance you do in your backyard under the full moon.
What Olivia Rodrigo writes about is very normal and common for a girl her age to be going through. And she started writing, I think, or her first album came out when she was 17 or 18. And I think a lot of people relate to this because a lot of us were not given this experience. You hear this phrase a lot, like, women just grow up older than men. Women just get older faster than men. Girls grow up faster than boys.
I'd like to be your sweetheart. And when I'm older and have saved the money for it, we will be married.
Jamie, I'm a great deal older than you.
A year and a bit.
Jamie, I don't know why, but a girl of 15 or 16 is a kind little woman. A boy of the same age is still a boy.
But we really don't naturally. I think that is a direct result of how we treat women in the world and how we expect them to grow older because we want them to be sex objects as soon as possible. And what Olivia is doing is talking about her own experiences. She's talking about how much she hates these boys who are treating her this way. She is going, insane in her own way, just trying to make it through the process of becoming an adult woman, which most of us are not even given the space to do because we are told to grow up as soon as possible. We'll be worthy, we'll be loved, we'll be accepted by men if you grow up as soon as possible. You start wearing makeup as soon as possible. You start showing your body off as soon as possible. And if you want to do that, whatever, but as a developing child and a developing young adult, that is not healthy. And it's not something that is just gonna erase who you were supposed to be. We see this happen all the time. It happened to me. I'm 23 and I feel like more of a kid than I did when I was 15 because I was trying so hard to be an adult because of the way society pushes that on young girls. And what Olivia Rodrigo is doing is essentially saying, fuck that. I'm going to write about my experiences. I'm going to call out the bullshit when I see it. I'm going to be a teenage girl. And I don't think it's wrong to relate to that. And I'm sure not everybody fits into that category. I'm sure there's a lot of women who just want to reminisce about their teenage years, about their first, asshole boyfriends that treated them like garbage, But overall, I think her music is so relatable to older women because we didn't get to quite experience that part of our lives. We didn't get to experience that core element of our development. And that is really heartbreaking. It's awful. And so for people to then push this narrative that you're too old to enjoy this music, you're too old to feel these things again, in my opinion, is complete bullshit. I don't necessarily care what music people listen to as long as you're not directly supporting an extremely problematic person, do whatever you want. But at the end of the day, if you need to experience these emotions that you were never able to fully process, then do it. She is an artist. Art, a lot of contention around what makes art art, but I'm going to tell you what it is. This is what art is. Art is communication. That's it. Art is taking some sort of emotion or some sort of experience or something I want to put out, and even though I might not know where it's going or know who's going to understand it, I'm putting something out from myself that I wasn't able to put into words or to communicate in some other way. That's what art is. It's communicating your deepest emotions and your deepest experiences in a way that you have no other option to communicate. And her music is banging. I'm not gonna call myself a stan. I don't want to be called out on on that or anything. I really enjoy a couple of her songs. I bump them in the car. But I don't think that there is an age limit for this kind of thing. There are plenty of people who still listen to Hannah Montana or Ally and AJ. I bet you if you ask any 20-something-year-old women if they know the lyrics to a potential breakup song, they're probably going to be able to sing it verbatim for you. This is not an experience that is necessarily limited to a time period in your life. You only have those years once, and unfortunately for a lot of us, we didn't get to experience them as normal kids are supposed to, especially as women when we are sexualized so young in this weird pedophilic society where you're told you can't have any fat on your body and you can't make anybody mad, and the whole thing is set up against you. And then when somebody like Olivia decides to just express herself naturally, everyone gets mad about it, and there's suddenly rules about what you can and can't listen to. We also live in this, at least in the United States, we live in this, grind culture where you're kind of expected to just work and do the best you can without complaining. Because, money is everything, success is everything, grind till you make it, even though that's, kind of It's actually really annoying talking with these fucking stickers on my face. We're expected to just go, go, go. And if you don't have time to stop and process what's going on, those feelings are just gonna come back later. You're gonna be a 20-year-old listening to Olivia Rodrigo no matter what. So you might as well just do it. Who cares? I personally have been really into Five Nights at Freddy's fan music. And anybody wants to tell me that I can't listen to that, you can talk to Mr. Fazbear.
Was that the bite of 87?
Teenage girls and their interests are going to be vilified no matter what happens. Look at Twilight, One Direction, I don't know, Hydro Flask. Remember that whole phase on TikTok about that? And it's like, these are just girls doing their thing. You rarely see this happen with teenage boys. You rarely see their interests or their hobbies being made fun of on this level as like cringe or whatever, as if they aren't like global phenomenons for a reason. And I think a lot of this just really boils down to sexism. I saw this TikTok, if I can find it, I will put it in the video, but it essentially was saying, like, men are so mad that they can't give birth, but they're also like really happy that they can't give birth.
The basis of like all oppression of women. If you control reproduction, you control everything. You control the economy, you control how many soldiers they have for wars, you control how many capitalists they have to consume, you control who's in the future.
And I think that's also reflective of the female experience, or, you know, even like LGBTQ people, trans people. You know, a lot of these kids, they don't get to experience being a kid when they are a kid because they haven't developed that part of their personality yet. So that stuff is just gonna come up in your 20s, and that's fine. Why do people think that when you turn like 20, you're supposed to be this like fully fledged out adult? I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Most 20-year-olds don't know what the fuck they're doing. You're literally like a baby. You've just had a childhood and now you're processing what it means to be a human. Why is this seen as something that's like too old? This is the time period for you to act like a fool. Be into whatever you want. Be silly. Literally like scream at the top of your lungs.
Slay! Slay!
Just get those emotions out, because if you just hold everything in and you don't process these things, they're gonna bottle up and they're gonna come out later in a much more violent way. That's essentially how the cycle of abuse works. You're gonna get hurt by something and you're gonna pass it on. Or you can be hurt by something, whether that be a boy or an experience or your parents, or I don't know, there's a lot of different ways to be hurt in the world, but you have a choice. You can pass that on to somebody else, which is the easy way, or you can think about why it made you feel how you felt. You can think about the fact that you didn't deserve it. You can think about the fact that maybe not all trauma or pain has a purpose. Maybe sometimes we are just caught in the crossfire. You need to get those emotions out, whether that be through art, whether that be through talking through people. Like, you know, there's so many ways you can get these emotions out, but because of the culture we live in, that's not encouraged. And music and art specifically are such a wonderful way to be able to not only process that stuff yourself, but to process that with other people and to be with other people. This is what I'm saying. Art is communication. This one girl is singing about her experience, and yet all of us relate to it. Almost all of us have had some sort of experience with a boy like that where, you know, they made all these promises and then all of a sudden they're on to somebody else and they're apathetic about how the way they treated you, and they seem to not care about the way that it completely crushed you. You have to think about those things. You have to process them. And if listening to Olivia Rodrigo is how you're gonna do it, I say fucking go for it. That's amazing to have some sort of outlet like that. I guess the moral of the story is, don't let mediocre men online tell you what to do. And honestly, mediocre is being generous. Listen to whatever you want to listen to, and as long as you're not hurting anybody, just have a good time. I don't know. I think you should just do whatever you want, because gross dudes are gonna judge you like that regardless.
Men are more oppressed than women.
I just think you should listen to what you want to listen to, and I don't think life is as linear as people like to think it is. I think you can have these experiences later on, or you can have them earlier, and it doesn't really matter. You can be a kid again if you need to be a kid again. Don't let people tell you that it's cringe, because at the end of the day, they are harboring a deep cringe in their soul themselves.
Can you tell us about one of the One Direction fan fiction you used to write?
I wish that I could find them. There's some record of it.